All right, hello everybody. Oh, slouching again. It's me, the Radishologist. Welcome to another stream. This is going to be another episode of Radish's Movie Club. If you don't know what that is, it's basically where I just talk about movies I've seen recently, and you guys can join the conversation if you'd like. I'm gonna play Fall Guys while I talk about these movies, so you guys can look at something. Um, but yeah, before we begin, a couple big announcements. First of all, the Mario movie trailer released like an hour ago, and I wanted to stream it, but you can't actually stream movie trailers apparently, which is unfortunate. So if you guys want to watch that, go check it out. Just Google Mario movie trailer, obviously. It actually looks pretty good. Voices are a bit iffy, but they're not as terrible as I was expecting. You know, Chris Pratt as Mario, Jack Black as Bowser, etc. I think it looks fire, and I'm planning on seeing it on opening weekend in April. So that's very important. Anyway, next thing, this is actually arguably less important. This is my last stream at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, that is, because I got a promotion at work, and I am changing my work schedule so I will now be working 4 o'clock p.m. to midnight, basically, Monday through Friday. So I will be changing when I'm streaming Movie Club and the Radish SMP and whatever else I end up doing. Haven't figured out exactly when yet. I'm going to take next week off to figure that out, so I will not be streaming at all next week. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube later, this does not affect you, so ignore what I just said. But yeah, so big changes coming. And is that everything? I guess that's everything I had to say before we begin. Oh, actually, no, one more thing. Minecraft Live is next Saturday at noon, or I think noon. I kind of want to stream my reaction to it. I'll just stream the whole thing, but I'm not sure if that's allowed. You're not allowed to stream movie trailers. That's why I didn't stream the Mario trailer. So I don't know if I'm allowed to stream Minecraft Live or not. I just want to like have it up playing for you guys, and I'll be in the corner reacting to it. Um, just because I think that would be fun. But I don't know if it's allowed, so I will let you guys know if I'm able to do that. So either way, Minecraft Live is next Saturday at noon Eastern Time, I believe. So if you want to watch it, do that. If you want to watch me reacting to it, maybe I will be streaming it. Who knows? Not me. But yeah, so today, movies we're going to talk about. Um, DC League of Super Pets. I watched that recently. Um, Samaritan and Hocus Pocus 2. Those are all movies that released this year. And then we're also going to talk about Gravity, an older movie. The Thing, well, not very, a much older movie, and then Hocus Pocus 1 as well. So we got 6 movies to talk about on the slate today. Um, so let's just go ahead and get started. I am playing Fall Guys once it loads, which it is not. Okay, cool. Oh, what's going on? I don't know. I'm going to ignore it and just play the game. So, first on the list, as you can see, is DC League of Super Pets. So, this movie was released in theaters in July, and I saw it was out, and I saw a lot of trailers for it, so I was kind of interested, but I wasn't interested enough to go spend money on it, so I just ignored it. And then recently, like last week or something, I was scrolling through movies that are free, and it's free on HBO Max now, so I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll give it a try, because I heard it actually was, relatively good. Um, so I watched it, and I did, kind of enjoy it. It wasn't terrible, and it wasn't perfect either. I had more fun than I was expecting to have, basically. Um, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Um, yeah, it's a fun movie. Definitely good for kids, but I think adults will enjoy it too because I enjoyed it. It's very funny. The plot is extremely predictable. Like if you watch it and you're above the age of like 12, you will know what's going to happen next, basically every step of the way. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just too smart. I don't know. I do watch a lot of movies. My roommate says he can never tell what's happening in movies, but I can tell like a lot of the time, unless it's like a big plot twist. So I don't know. I'm not smart, so I don't think it's that. But anyway, um, Wait, I didn't explain what it's about. I always forget to like explain what these movies are about before I talk about them. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, but I guess I'll explain it anyway. So, DC League of Super Pets is an animated superhero family movie starring the voices of Dwayne the Rock Johnson, Kevin Hart, the iconic duo. Um, I don't remember any of the other actors' names. I last movie club, I actually had the actors up or the cast up on my phone so I could remember, but I forgot to do that this time, and it's too late. So I don't remember anyone else who's in it. Oh, John Krasinski is in it. He's the voice of Superman, so that's kind of cool. But anyway, basically, it's about Superman's dog, Crypto, who's then a super dog. Um, and then the Justice League is kidnapped, and he has to get the help of um, another group of pets who just recently got their powers to save them, basically. So, it's a relatively interesting premise, something that kids would definitely enjoy, and I think adults will enjoy it too, as I said. I was laughing a lot. I mean, not like laugh out loud laughing, but, I was chuckling. It's decent humor. Um, and the voice acting is pretty good. I mean, they're all A-list actors pretty much. I just don't remember any of their names besides the main three. So it's kind of expected for them to be good at acting. But thank you for the follow, Drunken Smirnoff. I like that name. I like Smirnoff. Just kidding. I don't. I mean, I like what it does. I don't like the taste of it. Um, thanks for the follow, though. Um, 8-Bit Games, thanks for the follow as well. I'm just talking about movies right now, movies that I've seen recently that I enjoy. Oh, hold on. I gotta fix my. Can I fix that while I'm here streaming? Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. There we go. There's a fly in my room. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh yeah, DC League of Super Pets. No worries. I was sent by a mistress of witchcraft who decided to threaten me. Oh, that's interesting. Um, I'm not sure who. Oh, you were both sent by a mistress of witchcraft. Okay. Um, I don't really know who that could be, honestly. But um, I'm glad she sent you, or she threatened you, I guess. I'm actually going to be talking about the movies Hocus Pocus later today, which, there's witches in that. So I don't know if that's related to what what you guys are here for. But anyway, yeah, enjoy as I play a game that I'm not good at and also rant about these movies. I also don't even know what game this is right now. I'm just kind of jumping around. I think it's a memory game, right? Okay, everyone's going here. Anyway, back to DC League of Super Pets. So, um, it's funny. The character development happens pretty quickly, but it's a kids movie, so that's kind of expected. But literally, like, there's 3 side characters that are like their character arcs aren't very important, but the protagonist says like one sentence to each of them to help them get through whatever they are going through, and their problems are just instantly solved, which is kind of dumb. But kids movie doesn't really matter that much. Um, animation is pretty good. It's made by Warner Bros. Animation, I think, which they're usually good at animating things, so it looks good. Plot is predictable, as I said, but it manages to get some emotions out of its viewers, I think. There's one scene, one of the characters' backstories that actually made me feel a bit of sadness in my heart, and that's not something that kids' movies can usually do for 21-year-olds like me. So, um, yeah, it was. Um, yeah, the character development. I mean, not character development. What am I talking about? I don't remember. Oh, right, the emotion. Yeah, yeah. There was a turtle in that movie that I enjoyed. Yeah, yeah. She was very funny. She was actually cursing a lot. I mean, they bleeped it out because it's a kids movie, but I was kind of surprised that they even implied cursing. She got speed powers, which is very funny. And I like how all the main characters, which are the pets, team up with a superhero at the end for the big fight. I think that was very nice. definitely seeing Kevin Hart's Bat Dog as with Batman was really funny. Censorship was on point. I liked. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I'm glad they censored it because it's a kids movie. I just think it's funny that they put it in there. But yeah, so it's a decent movie. If I think if you have kids that want to see it, then you should take your kids. I mean, I guess it's not in theaters anymore. It's streaming now. So if the kids ever want to watch a superhero movie with animals as superheroes, this is probably like the only one that I can think of that exists. I don't think. I mean, I guess there's probably other movies with superhero animals, but I can't think of any mainstream ones that are animated at least. So it's a good movie to watch for the kids. Um, let's see. Was there anything else about that movie I wanted to talk about? I don't think so. I basically went through everything. It's funny. It's a fun watch. Um, it's predictable, but it still works in a way. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, um, yeah, I think that's all I got for DC League of Super Pets. But next movie I have on my slate today is Gravity, which is not a new movie. I usually like to talk about new movies in these streams. I got 3 new movies and 3 old movies. So, Gravity is from 2013. I guess isn't old, but it's not recent. This is a sci-fi thriller kind of movie, um, directed by Ridley Scott. No, I think I just made that up. I don't remember who directed this one. Let me Google it real quick. But it stars Sandra Bullock and um, what is the other dude's name? Oh, George Clooney. Yeah, and basically it's about these 2 astronauts that are stranded in space. Oh, Alfonso Cuarón. Yeah, he's the one who directed that. I don't know why I thought it was Ridley Scott. I guess I watched another space movie that he directed recently. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, Alfonso Cuarón directed this. Sandra Bullock and George Clooney are basically the only actors in it, actually. There's a couple other voice actors that appear, but um, there's no other. Well, then there's one other actor who dies, like, right at the beginning. But yeah, so there's, like, space debris orbiting Earth, and these astronauts are up fixing a satellite, and then the space debris comes unexpectedly and destroys everything except for them. So now they're stranded in space. So basically, it's about them trying to get back to Earth. Um, I never watched this as a kid. Well, I guess I was only 12 when it came out, but I just never, I don't know, never got around to seeing it. But it was on my list for a while because it looks really good, and it was also nominated for literally 10 different Oscars, and it won, I think, 7 of them. Most of them in the technical categories because the technical aspects of this movie are really good. But besides just the technical aspects, I think the plot is just good. I mean, personally, I was on the edge of my seat with my heart racing like the whole time during that movie, basically, because it just things just keep happening to the astronauts, and they just don't let up. Like bad things keep happening, and it's easy to root for them. So um, when bad things keep happening, you're like, oh no, are they going to survive? So I was invested in it, basically, is what I'm saying. Um, oh, but yeah, I really like space movies. Honestly, I like Interstellar. That's one of my favorite movies. I think. Um, Star Wars, of course, great movie. Alien is really good, and also Aliens. Um, what other space movies are there? I'm sure there's more that I've seen that are good. But yeah, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. So of course, that's a space movie. So yeah, I'm just a fan of space movies and sci-fi movies in general. The acting is really good. I think Sandra Bullock was nominated for an Oscar for it. I don't think she won, but she definitely deserved that nomination. George Clooney was pretty good too, even though he wasn't in it as much. Um, but yeah, the movie's basically just like Castaway, but in space, sort of, I guess. Well, not really. Basically, it's characters stranded and trying to get back to civilization. That's the only similarities. And there's also only one actor for the majority of the movie because it's mostly just Sandra Bullock. But um, yeah, it's enjoyable. Um, and yeah, the technical aspects all really good. The visual effects are like mind blowing for the time. I mean, I guess it was 2013, so it's not really mind blowing, but Sorry, there's a fly in here, bro. um, the camera work, which I know isn't technically camera work because I guess this movie is mostly green screen since it takes place in space for the entirety of the movie. So I guess maybe all entirely green screen, maybe besides like the scenes inside the spaceships, which are probably sets. Um, but the camera work that they have is really incredible. I think they do these really long shots, but it's like moving around because they're in space, so it's like spinning around and like floating, and it really makes you feel like you're in space with the character, which I think is a really cool aspect of the movie. And also the really long, shots when it doesn't cut to different camera angles or anything. Those are always really good at building suspense. So whenever that happens, you know something is about to happen. So the tension rises. So I think it does a really good job at that. The score, which is the musical soundtrack in the background, I think is really good. There's something about space movies soundtracks that I just love for some reason. Interstellar has some really good music. Star Wars, of course, has really great music. And then this song, or this movie's music, the theme, is very, what's the word? Intense, I guess. It's like throbbing. That's not the word. Pulsing, that's the word I'm looking for. Um, and it's just really cool to listen to, I think, and really matches the vibe of the movie. Um, let's see, what others? Oh, and the sound mixing, of course. There's a couple scenes where it goes silent because they're in space, so you can't actually hear anything, which are really cool, I think. Um, I forget, and it won the Oscar for sound mixing and sound editing, which were two different Oscars at the time, but now they're just mixed into one. It won Best Visual Effects. I think it won Best Cinematography, um, Best Directing, Best Score. That's six, and then one other Oscar. It won seven Oscars, and then it was nominated for Best Actress, which it didn't win, and Best Picture, which is just Best Movie of the Year. Didn't win that either. And then a couple other things I can't remember. All I know is it's a great movie, and it's impressive that they're able to make such a good movie with basically two characters for the entire thing. Um, you'd think that would get boring after a while, but no, it was. I thought it was great. My roommate, for some reason, said that he thought it was boring, but he watched it when it came out, so he was like 13 at the time, so maybe he didn't appreciate movies at the time. My brother, I think, also told me he thought it was boring. I can't remember. I feel like he was saying that, but I didn't think it was boring at all. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, um, just in anticipation of what was going to happen next. So if you thought it was boring, I don't know. Don't know why. I think I heard people on the internet saying it's not really scientifically accurate in some scenes because there's no gravity in space, right? But it's called gravity. So first, that's the main thing, I guess. Um, and then there's a scene. I mean, I guess they're orbiting Earth, so I guess that has gravity. They're not technically in deep space. I don't know. But there's a scene where they get knocked around by some space debris, and the two characters are tethered together. Well, not tethered together, but they're on either side of a rope, and the rope is like pulling in one direction, and he's like, "You have to let me go. You have to let me die because I'm pulling you with me." And I think people were like, "Well, that doesn't make sense because they're in space. Why would he be pulling with with her?" Um, I mean, I don't know. It's a movie, right? And I think because of the momentum that's going on in that scene, I feel like it does make sense. But obviously, I'm not a scientist, so I could be making that up entirely. Who knows? But yeah, I think personally that it's a good movie. I gave it a 9 out of 10 overall. Honestly, I loved it. And also, I forgot to mention this about Super Pets, but I gave that a 7 out of 10 because it's fun, but predictable. Gravity, I guess, is predictable. I mean, I guess I kind of knew she was gonna live at the end, but I never really felt like I knew what was gonna happen next, like what the character was gonna do next at all times. So I think it's a good movie. Definitely deserves the Oscars that it got, and I think deserves more praise too. I think it's underrated. I think people say that it's not that great or boring, like my roommate and brother said, apparently. But yeah, if you like sci-fi movies, especially movies that take place in space, I think you'd really like this movie. Um, and also thriller movies, because it's kind of a thriller too, because it's not really horror, but you got the thrills going on as you're um, anticipating what's going to happen next and all of that. So yeah, Gravity, 9 out of 10. Good movie overall. Now let's move on to a recent release. Came out this year, which is definitely not as good as Gravity. This is called Samaritan. Don't know who directed it. Can't be bothered to look it up. But it stars what is his name? Dude, how did I forget his name? Sylvester Stallone, that's his name. And some other kid, I don't remember his name. That it's a superhero movie, superhero action movie. It's kind of like a grittier take on superhero movies, reminiscent of like The Boys. What's that other Chronicle, Kick-Ass movies like that kind of. So not like lighthearted and fun like the MCU is. Um, and it's about basically there were two superheroes back in the day, or like a superhero and a villain, that were brothers, and they both died in an explosion. But this kid, who's the main character, believes Samaritan, which is the superhero's name, is still alive. And then he decides that his neighbor is Samaritan, and then eventually finds out that yeah, he was Samaritan. So, and then there's also this villain who gets the villain's name was Nemesis. He gets Nemesis's um, weapon and basically wreaks havoc on the city or something. I don't really know. It's honestly not very good. I think it's mediocre at best. I think the premise is really cool. Like the way I was explaining it, I think makes it sound interesting. I mean, not the way I was explaining it, but if someone that's good at explaining things was to explain this to somebody, which is not me, I think it would sound really cool. And I heard it got mixed reviews. It got bad reviews with critics, but like kind of great reviews from audiences. So I was like, yeah, I guess I'll watch it. And it's free on Amazon Prime, so I was like, yeah, sure, because it's an Amazon Prime original. But unfortunately, I did not like this movie. The main reason is the acting is like terrible. The main kid, who's like the main actor, the protagonist, I guess, he's the worst. I mean, not the worst, but I did not like his acting at all. Let me look up his name because he was in Euphoria. He played Ashtray. I never watched Euphoria. Javon Walton. He played the main character, and I hated his acting. I thought it was like really cringe and like that's the best word I can think of to describe it. What's a more professional word for cringe? I don't know. I can't think of one. But basically, it was not good. Like I every time he spoke, it annoyed me basically. Um, and then Sylvester Stallone, honestly, was also not that great either. I mean, he's good at showing like his anger and stuff, but I don't know. His voice is kind of weird for a superhero, I think. I don't know. I didn't like his acting that much. And then the villain is also pretty bad. First of all, we have no idea what his motives really are. He doesn't really explain any of it. And second of all, I mean, I guess they explain it, but it's very vague. And second of all, his acting is just really over the top. He like yells a lot, like just roars and stuff, and it's kind of weird. Um, I don't know. I didn't like any of the actors at all, um, which is weird. I mean, not weird. I mean, I don't know. I thought I wanted to like it, but I didn't. Um, but the third act actually, like the final fight scene or final fights, is actually really good, and almost makes the movie worth watching. Almost, not really. Because it's like a whole warehouse scene where it catches on fire and there's a lot of fighting and there's a plot twist which is all really done really well, I think. Lots of unstoppable action. Sylvester Stallone just straight up murdering bad guys, which is cool to see. It's always good to see superheroes kill people, I think. Not that, I mean, obviously, yeah, you know what I mean, right? Like the MCU doesn't, the superheroes are all like, no, I don't kill, but I like to see a more gritty take on it, like in The Boys. Except in The Boys, the superheroes are all villains, so that's kind of different. But anyway, The action is cool. I think the effects are cool. Um, and the plot twist, dude. I saw the plot twist coming, honestly, but the reveal still made it cool. I think the music and the editing that was going on just made it, um, still gave me goosebumps. I like it when plot twists give me goosebumps. So it was still pretty good, even though I saw it coming. Apparently, everybody saw it coming. Most reviews are like, yeah, the biggest or the least surprising plot twist ever. Basically, this is a spoiler. So if you don't want spoilers, do not watch or fast forward like 20 seconds if you're watching this on YouTube. But Samaritan, we find out that he actually wasn't Samaritan that survived. He was Nemesis, which I think is very interesting, even though I saw it coming. But I also think it should have been the internal conflict that he was going through the whole time, like grappling with how he used to be bad, but now he is learning to be good. Instead, they just tack it on at the end as a plot twist, which is still good, as I already said. But I think he should have been that should have been the internal conflict for the whole movie, because otherwise he doesn't really have anything going on within him. He's just like, oh no, my nemesis is, or this guy um, is using my nemesis' weapon and is wreaking havoc on the world, so I gotta go stop him or something. I don't even know. And then this kid is just like annoying him the whole time, and it's like, you should train me at fighting, and he's like, oh yeah, sure, and then he trains him in fighting, which is really weird. So I don't know. I think this movie could have been good if the writing was better, but the writing is not better, not good. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just did not like it. Besides the third act, of course. I thought the third act was phenomenal. Lots of great action, great effects, I think. I don't really remember. I remember the fire looking cool. And just a really overall action packed scene that is relatively interesting. But I would not recommend watching this movie just for the third act because the rest of the movie is not good. Did not like it. I gave it a 5 out of 10 because it's mediocre, Could have been better, had some good moments, but overall, disappointing. I think it's based on comics. I'm not actually sure. Maybe not. I could be wrong. Um, but yeah. Um, I think that's all I have to say about Samaritan. I also feel like I'm talking a lot, or going through these movies a lot quicker today. I don't know why. Because I'm already halfway through and it's only been 30 minutes. I usually go an hour and 30 minutes. I don't know. We'll see how long I take on these other movies. Um, so the next movie I have to discuss is an old movie. Not old. I mean, it's 40 years old this year, actually, which is kind of surprising. The Thing, which is from 1982. This is a horror movie directed by. Was this one directed by Ridley Scott? I can't remember. I don't think so. Let me Google it again. Who directed The Thing? The Thing. Um, John Carpenter. Oh, right. Of course. I should have known that. I don't know why I did not think of that. Um, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. Basically, The Thing is a horror movie directed by John Carpenter, who also directed Halloween, I think. Or is he the composer for Halloween? I don't remember. Um, but anyway, it stars Kurt Russell, Keith David, and a bunch of other guys that I don't really remember the names of, but there's a lot of them. And they are all workers in a base in Antarctica, and then an alien um, happens among them and is able to take on the form of any life form. So the plot is just like revolving around them not trusting who is or not trusting anyone because anybody could be this alien life form. So basically, this movie is Among Us. um, they made Among Us into a real movie 40 years before Among Us came out, basically. Because there's an imposter among them, Well, I guess there's multiple imposters. Um, I don't know. This is a stupid joke, so I'm gonna stop with it now. But it also takes place in a a scientific base, I guess, which is like Among Us. I don't know. But anyway, this movie is really good. It's a classic. Um, everyone I see on like Reddit says this is like the best movie ever. So I was like, I gotta watch it at some point. Honestly, it wasn't mind blowing like I was expecting it to be, but I still thought it was really good. Um, it's kind of slow, but it's an older movie, so that's understandable. But the best thing about it, besides, well, I really like the drama that occurs between the characters as they're, um, unsure of who is a real person and who is a, could be the alien, the things as they call it. Um, so the drama between that is really good. But the other really good thing about this movie is the practical effects that they use, because I think this was before the CGI, or at least they didn't really use CGI. Um, and the alien just looks horrifying, like in a good way, because it's a horror movie. In like every scene that it's in, especially the first time we see it, because it comes out of a dog, and that was terrifying to see a dog turn into that thing. So, um, yeah, it looked really good in every scene that it was in, and then when it was the dog, when it was taking the forms of the other humans, when it was like trans transforming into the humans and was like stuck halfway through, I just thought it looked terrifying. Almost gave me nightmares. Not really, but looked really good. Um, but yeah, the acting is really good. Um, Kurt Russell is the protagonist, and he's great always. Keith David is also pretty good. Um, kind of a weird thing about it is that every single character is a man. There are no women in this movie whatsoever. Um, kind of sexist. I mean, not really. It was 1982, so it was a different time. But also, it also makes sense for the plot, I guess, because it's all a bunch of guys in Antarctica. They don't really want women there, I guess. I don't really know. But yeah, I don't know. I think I could have used a few women. But yeah, there's literally like 15 different guys in this movie that are all in the base, and it's kind of hard to keep track of who's who at first. And also definitely hard to keep track of like when they are able to be reached by the alien or the thing. I feel like we're actually not supposed to know when the thing gets to them, but because we're supposed to be it's supposed to be a mystery to us too about who's human and who is a thing. But I don't know. I feel like there were probably things that like hinted towards who was about to turn into it, and I just didn't get them because there are so many characters to keep track of at first. But yeah, it was the mystery of who is great. The acting is great. Um, it's that 80s acting of like the everyone yelling at each other that happens in those movies, which I think is pretty good. Practical effects, I said, were great. Special effects, like the CGI, I think the very first scene looks terrible because the very first scene is actually like a shot. It shows a spaceship flying towards Earth, like clearly an alien spaceship flying towards Earth, but it looks terrible. And this movie came out after Star Wars, so I know it could have looked better, like the original Star Wars. Um, it just looks really fake, like a drawing almost, like it was animated. Maybe that's intentional. I don't really know, but it just looked bad. But as I said earlier, the practical effects, which are actually used to show the thing when it's on Earth, are amazing. So it makes up for that, really. Um, if you like horror movies, I think you would like this movie, or like thrillers, or mysteries, dramas. I think it fits into all those categories, really. Um, oh, the ending. This is a spoiler. So basically, I mean, I guess you can kind of expect it from this kind of movie. Everyone dies except for two main characters, which is Keith David and Kurt Russell, right? The thing kills everyone, or they kill each other because of they're not sure who's who. Um, but Kurt Russell and Keith David survive, and they blow up the base where the thing was, and then they just kind of sit down and watch the explosion. They're they both say like, "Are you one of him?" or "How can I trust you?" or something, and they're like, "Well, there's no point anymore because their whole base exploded, so they were gonna freeze to death out of there anyway, I guess." So you're supposed to not really know if they were actually the thing, had turned into the thing or not. But I felt like it was kind of underwhelming because first of all, the way Kurt Russell blows them up is kind of underwhelming because basically he just throws a bomb at it and it blows up the whole thing, and that's the end. I feel like it could have been a bit cooler. And then I thought something really cool was going to go down when Keith David's character showed up with a gun. I thought there was going to be something cool. But they're like, nah, we don't know if we can trust each other. Let's just sit down and wait to die. Which I guess is an interesting choice. I actually didn't even really get that. I thought they were both fine and they were just going to sit there. But someone commented on my review on Instagram and was like, it's supposed to be ambiguous, so you're not really supposed to know if they are infected or not. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I guess I am stupid. But I still feel like that's a bit underwhelming, and I don't know, something should have happened. Don't really know what, but I feel like and it could have been a little better. Um, but otherwise, this movie is really good. It's a classic for a reason. The only horror movie really that takes place in Antarctica that I can think of. I guess Alien versus Predator does. That's not really a good movie though. But yeah, The Thing I gave an 8 out of 10 overall. Not mind blowing or anything, but still really good. Iconic, a classic. Everyone should watch it at least once in their life, unless you are scared easily or grossed out easily, because the Thing is very gross looking, which is a good thing. Like, because it looks really good. I mean, not good. It looks really gross, which is a good thing because that's what it's supposed to look like. So yeah, I'd recommend this movie if you think you'll like it. Basically, that's what I can say about any movie. Really, I recommend it if you think you'll like it. If you don't think you'll like it, then I don't recommend it. Um, I liked it. Anyway, next we're moving on to I guess it's not really a horror movie, a fantasy movie, Disney movie from 1993 called Hocus Pocus. And the sequel, Hocus Pocus 2, came out this year, so I decided to watch the first one. I had actually never seen it, surprisingly, or maybe I had and I just don't remember, but this movie has like a cult following on the internet, I think. Like, I see a lot of people say they love this movie. Um, I was not a fan, honestly. I guess I should talk about what it's about. So, basically, there's these three witches called the Sanderson sisters in 1693 or something in Salem, and now it's 1993, and these kids accidentally resurrect them because they were hanged. Did I lose? I don't remember losing. I guess I did. Wait, hello? Okay, sorry. Back to movie. Um, yeah, they're resurrected and basically are just, you know, trying to kill a kid so they can live forever, basically. Drink their de-aging potions or whatever. Um, and these kids are like trying to stop them. That's basically the whole movie. Um, yeah, I was not a fan. I didn't really like it as much as everyone else does. Um, I thought it was kind of obnoxious. The witches are really over the top, which I admire their commitment to the characters, right? Because that's how witches are. But I thought they were really annoying. And I don't know. Maybe it was their voices, maybe it was the way they're acting, but I just thought the whole thing overall was obnoxious. And also the little girl that is one of the protagonists, she's kind of annoying too. Um, the main kid is kind of annoying. I don't know. It's all overall. I didn't think it was great. The plot is also really just the kids accidentally resurrect the witches and then run from place to place as the witches chase them, and that's like the whole movie basically. Um, how do they stop them again? Oh, the only thing they decide to do is they have to just survive until daytime. Um, because the witches will die at daytime if they don't kill a kid, and the only kids they want to kill are the main characters because movies got a movie. Um, so yeah, not a fan. The the main three kids, like it's funny, the witches are really committed to the roles and way over the top. The kids are like the complete opposite. Like their acting is not really that good, I don't think. Um, like their characters are just kind of boring. Don't know. I usually like brother sister relationships in movies, just because I'm a big family guy, family guy. So I like family dynamics in movies. And there's a brother sister in this movie, but I honestly didn't really care for them that much. I think it was just their acting. Didn't really make me care for the relationship, unfortunately. Um, yeah, and it's supposed to be a comedy, I think, but I didn't really laugh very much in this one. Um, I think I chuckled a few times. It's funny, they do a few like sex jokes, which it's a Disney movie, so that's kind of weird. I mean, it wasn't the '90s, so I guess that was back when it was okay. But yeah, lots of sex jokes. They also do like they show. I guess they don't really explicitly show it, but they show the witches being hanged in Salem in the 1600s, and also showing them being burned alive later. More, I guess it's more implied, but um, still feels kind of dark for a Disney movie. And the sequel probably, I guess they realized that in the sequel and don't show anything even similar to that. So yeah, it's I guess it's just how censorship has changed. Because this movie is rated like G, I think, maybe PG. I don't really know. Um, oh yeah, I guess I also forgot to mention this movie takes place on Halloween night, which is why the witches are able to just walk around because people think they're in costume. That happens in both movies. Um, so yeah, I guess that's an interesting. I mean, at least there's some funny moments when the characters are like, "Oh, are you in costume? Are you supposed to be the Sanderson sisters?" And they're like, "Yes," because they don't understand Halloween. Um, so I guess those moments are pretty funny sometimes. There's a scene where there's a guy dressed as Satan, and Satan is their master or whatever, so they like go in there and start worshiping him, which I think is funny because he's just wearing a Halloween costume. He's just some regular dude. So that's a pretty funny scene. And um, there's a musical number in this movie too, which honestly I thought I would hate because it's just one musical number in the whole movie, and it's kind of like why that feels out of nowhere. But honestly, it kind of slapped. She sings "I Put a Spell on You" or something like that. Um, and the song and the whole scene where they sing the song, they perform it on a stage, and they are like putting a spell on the audience. I don't know. It's just really fun to watch, I think. Um, yeah, the song is also really catchy, and yeah, it's just it's probably the best part of the movie, I think. Um, I had fun with it. It's really the only part of the movie that I liked. Besides, like I admire the commitment for the main three actresses. Um, Costumes are good. Special effects are really bad, but it was the '90s. That's kind of understandable. But yeah, there's these scenes where they shoot like lightning out of their fingers, and it looks really fake. So, um, yeah, I don't know. So it loses points there. But the song is good. It's funny sometimes. Plot is meh. There's like no character development. I mean, I guess the main kid learns to believe in witches. I guess that's his character development. I don't really know. Or learns to love his sister. Something like that. But his acting just isn't good enough to show that development. And then the main three actresses, I don't know. Their character development is just like I guess antagonists don't really have character development, but their motive is like they just want to find a kid and kill him, the kid so they can live forever or live longer. Um, which I guess is enough of a motive. I don't know. Like the fantasy part of this movie is good. Like it's a interesting world that they've created with these witches, but I don't think it is executed well enough for me to enjoy it. Apparently, a lot of people really love it. It's a cult classic on the internet, but I personally was not a fan. Um, I guess that's all I have to say about um, Hocus Pocus. Right? Yeah, probably. So, the next movie I'm going to talk about is from 2022, and it's Hocus Pocus 2. Came out this year. Came out like last weekend, actually, on Disney Plus. This movie is directed by Anne Fletcher. I remember that, her name. Starring the same three actresses that played the witches, which is, I guess I didn't say who was starring in the first one. Betty Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy or something like that. They are the witches in both movies. And in this, well, here, let me finish explaining what it's about. Also stars Whitney Peak and some other kids. I don't remember their names. Um, they accidentally resurrect the sisters again, about 30 years after it happened in the first movie. And this time, the witches are on a quest to become all powerful using a different spell than just living forever. So the kids just have to stop them, basically. Um, so in this movie, um, oh yeah, I lost my train of thought again. The main three actresses return and look exactly the same. They don't look like they have aged a day. And I think they're all old now. Maybe not old, but definitely older, obviously. It's been almost 30 years. Um, and they look exactly the same. So I'm impressed. Uh, and honestly, they were not as obnoxious in the sequel, I don't think. I thought they were much less annoying, much funnier. I was actually laughing a lot more. And overall, just better characters. Especially at the end, I like their character development that they kind of have there. So I honestly, yeah, like Hocus Pocus 2 more than the original. I still wouldn't say it's a good movie, but it's not bad either. I mean, I wouldn't say either of them are bad. I think it's better than the first one, but not good and not terrible either. Um, Plot is pretty much the same. The witch is chasing the main kids, except this time they're trying to become powerful instead of trying to kill a kid. But they are still trying to kill the kids, I guess. Um, the main there's this magic shop owner who gives the main kids the candle to resurrect them and kind of like tricks them. I never really understood his motive for why he wanted to bring the sisters back, because he doesn't really explain it. I mean, I guess he kind of does, because he's their biggest fan or whatever, so he wants to bring them back to life. But I don't know. He just seems his character seemed kind of dumb. Sam Richardson is the actor. Doesn't really seem to have any reason to be doing what he's doing. So the reason that the switches are able to come back is kind of dumb in the first place. But I don't know. It was slightly more enjoyable than in the first one. Um, I think it's the same situation with the kid actors. I wouldn't say they're bad actors this time, but they are not really compelling characters. Like I didn't really care for them that much. I really was really just watching the movie for the Sanderson sisters' return. Um, the main kids from the first movie don't return, I don't think. Oh, Doug Jones, who played like a zombie in the first one, he comes back in this one too, and he also looks exactly the same. I mean, obviously they could use a lot of makeup on him, so that's probably part of the reason. I don't know how old he is now, but obviously he aged 30 years, so it's impressive that these four characters that returned are able to, um, look exactly the same as they did. And it makes sense that they look exactly the same because they were dead and they're for 30 years, so they were resurrected. Obviously, they wouldn't age while they're dead. So yeah, I laughed a lot more. The effects are definitely better because it's 2022 now. I feel like sometimes they still looked kind of cheap, but maybe they were intentionally doing that to like match the vibe of the first one's effects. Don't really know. But yeah, they were definitely better than the first one. Um, but the best part of this movie, which is the same as the best part of the first movie, is the songs, the musical numbers again. This time she sings One Way or Another, or like a cover of it, and that slapped. Honestly, it was a bop. I was jamming. It was a great scene um, of her performing. They perform it on stage again to another crowd, and the crowd sings along with them when they when she says to repeat the spell after her. So um, it's a cool scene. I like it. And then they do another musical number, which is they kind of start it when they're first resurrected, but they don't finish, and then they finish. They do the full musical number in the credits, which is also really catchy. It's just called "The Witches Are Back" or something. I don't know if that's a cover or if that's original song. Don't know, but both songs honestly really good, really fun to watch. I wouldn't think that the musical numbers would be the best part of these movies. I mean, I guess since they're Disney movies, that's kind of expected, but I don't know. I mean, it was I was just kind of surprised that I really liked the musical numbers of both movies. Um, songs are great. What else did I write down? Which is oh yeah, they're funnier. I'm trying to read my handwriting. I wrote down notes here. They're funnier. They look the same. The kids are meh. Oh, the protagonist for some reason gets like witch powers in this movie. I mean, she grows up liking witchcraft and everything about it, but she knows it's not real, I guess. And they insinuate that she's gonna get powers because they're like, this rumor or legend says on your 16th birthday you get powers, your witch powers, and it's her 16th birthday on Halloween. So she suddenly can, I don't know, do these really vague powers. It's kind of like Steven Universe can do, where he just like creates a bubble, or like Miss Marvel, I guess, can create shields and stuff. So it's not really a witch thing. That's just kind of like, I don't know, superpowers in a way. Um, and I guess she's also able to say spells using the spell book. But I think anyone could have done that. I don't really know. So yeah, I don't know. They don't really explain why she gets powers suddenly, and it's just kind of a weird plot point. I think they could have done without it. Um, but I guess I don't know. They needed it for the plot, maybe. Speaking of the plot, the ending. This is a spoiler, so if you don't want it spoiled, fast forward to like 30 seconds. But the witches finally are able to do their spell to become all powerful, right? But they didn't read the warning. So the main witch, Betty Midler, her two sisters are killed. I mean, I guess like they turn into dust like they did in the first movie. Um, because this warning said it takes what you hold most dear to you, and that was her sisters. So there's a nice moment where she uh, says she'll give up her powers for her sisters. So that's nice character development. And they're like, all right, we're gonna send you to them, so we're gonna kill you too. And she's like, you know what, that's fine. So she smiles and goes to them. And first of all, I really like how they, at least the other two sisters, not the main one, say the same thing right before they die that they did in the first one. One says bye bye, one says bye or goodbye, and they say it in the exact same way, which is cool. So it's a good throwback. And then the main witch dies and says sisters, which I think is probably the last thing she said. I don't in the first one. I don't remember, but it's a good moment. Very satisfying, I think. Almost made me tear up a little when she realized her sisters were being killed, basically. Um, but yeah, although I kind of felt like throughout the movie they were kind of implying that she didn't really care for her sisters because there's a few scenes where she's like they're idiots and stuff, which also happens in the first one. So I thought maybe the sisters would turn on her, but they don't. And um, I don't know. I guess I was just getting the wrong vibe from it. It just felt like the character development was out of place there because she all of a sudden really cared for her sisters after calling them idiots, like literally the scene before that. But she says, she loves them. She loves to hate them. It's sibling relationship. You hate your siblings. I mean, not hate, but your siblings annoy you, so that's how she feels. So I guess that works. But yeah, overall, um, a decent movie. Did I say I gave the first one a 5 out of 10? I don't remember, but I'm saying it now. First movie got a 5 out of 10 from me. Second movie, I gave a 6 out of 10 because it's slightly more enjoyable. There's 2 songs instead of 1 this time, which are great. Um, it's a little funnier. Plot is also meh, but you know, I liked it. Um, there's a long scene that takes place in Walgreens, which people are saying is a huge advertisement for Walgreens, which I guess probably was. My roommate watched this movie but wasn't really paying attention. He was watching with friends or something. They were just talking the whole time. But when he came back and told me about it, he was like, "Yeah, it seemed like there was a really long scene in the Walgreens." I don't remember it being that long, but it probably was longer in the Walgreens than necessary. So, yeah, it was probably just a big advertisement for Walgreens. But you know, movies need their advertisements, so um, their brand deals. This movie apparently is the was the highest watch or the most watched Disney Plus or straight to Disney Plus premiere to date, which is kind of impressive because I didn't think Hocus Pocus there were that many Hocus Pocus fans, but I guess there are. And also, I guess Disney Plus has more subscribers now than it used to have, so they don't. And also, they don't really do many straight to Disney Plus movies, right? At least no big ones. A lot of people are saying it's could have done great in theaters, but because I think the first one did come out in theaters. Obviously, I was not alive. It was 1993, so I don't know for sure. But um, I don't know. I guess it probably could have done good in theaters, but this is probably just something they were going to use to get people to subscribe. So, you know, that's understandable, I think. So, overall, Hocus Pocus 2. If you like the first one, I think you'll like the second one. If you didn't really like the first one, like me, you could probably skip it. Or if you haven't seen either of them, I would just skip both. They're not that great. They're Disney movies, but they're lower tier Disney movies. So, yeah. And that's all the movies I had to talk about today. Wow, I went 30 minutes faster than I usually do. Kind of surprising, but whatever. So, let me. Oh, I never unmuted my desktop audio, so you guys couldn't hear the Fall Guys sound effects. Oh no. Just kidding. I'm sure you guys don't care. So, if you have seen these movies and you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to let me know in the comments what you thought about any of these films. Um, and feel free to join me on my next movie club, which I'm not sure when that will be yet because, as I said at the beginning of this video, I got a promotion at work, which is changing my work schedule. So now I will be working 4 p.m. to midnight, Monday through Friday. So I will no longer be able to stream at 5 p.m. Eastern, which is what I've been doing since I started streaming. So I have to come up with new times to stream, which I will come up with. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, you don't care. But if you watch my Twitch streams and want to know when I will be live, um, I will come up with a schedule soon. But I am not streaming at all next week, so I can figure out that schedule, basically. Although next Saturday, October 15th, I may stream Minecraft Live, just my reaction to it. Not sure if that's allowed yet. If it is allowed, I'll do it. If it's not, then obviously I won't. I'll let you guys know on my Twitter. So follow me on Twitter, Radishologist. I will post about it if I am able to stream it, or if I'm not. Um, but yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoyed me ranting about these movies while playing a pointless game. I hope to see you next time. Follow me on social media everywhere at Radishologist. And yeah, I will see you all next time. I am able to figure out my works or my streaming schedule. Thanks for joining and see you around. That was awkward. All right. Bye.